when we get done with classes.
And McDonald's.
What? See? Not only is Walmart important, it's our front row. And now that we know our audience is comprised of Walmart employees and former Walmart employees, I appreciate knowing that because now I know in advance to speak slower. Thank you. I'll be here all weekend, or at least until the meeting's out. And we need to talk to security that I have so far. It's the fun. And there you have it, stepmother and son.
No Wizard of Oz music.
I get it, that was funny. Save the jokes for us. We have a lifetime of being laughed at, we're good at it. Except we're indoors. Normally when we're in Kansas, we perform outdoors. And you guys have something that we don't have as much of in Iowa. It's called wind. I thought growing up in Iowa, windy day meant, ooh, let's fly a kite. In Kansas, it's duck. Somebody's house is going down. So we were at the Great Plains Renaissance Festival for the very first time. And Saturday was beautiful. It was in April and it was like 80. We're in Armour going, this is awesome. We love it here. And on Sunday, God decided to show us what Kansas is like the other 364 days. And so our stage was blowing away. We had to drop the screen. We put a big tarp out for people to sit on because the park, has anybody been to the Great Plains Rent Park? It's awesome, but that park
they survived.
in the spring has nasty thistle things on the grounds. And so nobody was staying for our show, so we got this huge canopy. And we spread it out on the ground, and we had our extra students stand on the corner so people could come sit down. So we had all these people sitting on this canopy, and I'm thinking, God, if we let go of the corners, we'll just roll them up, and it'll be one gigantic, no. So the wind's howling, and I'm trying to make myself heard, and I'm like, how many of you are from Kansas? And like, everybody raised their hand. I'm like, so this is normal for you? And they're all going, yeah, it's just weather. We're from Iowa. The last time we saw weather like this, someone was dropping a house on my ex-wife. And then I went, oh my God, I said that out loud and my kids are right behind me. And I turned around to see how my, 12 and 13-year-old kids are dealing with what I just called their mother. And they're doubling over with laughter. We had to stop the show for them to get their composure back. Awesome. I was hoping you'd show up.
Oh, man. Yeah,
not really.
How you been? Well, we were better. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't make me
Supper
feel like
That's not what
We had really good Kansas win.
Did anybody else go to the Dinner with the Stars thing? You know what's awesome about that? We got to go too. And then we found out we were supposed to be the stars part, and I realized your attraction just kind of dropped down a little bit. But we got to go and we sat with several of you, and you came to our show. You didn't get enough of me before?
Well, we're back tomorrow and Sunday.
How many of you left your meds at home for the weekend? Oh yeah!
I actually brought mine.
Just so you know, not only are we on stage Friday night, we have a main stage show Saturday afternoon at 2:30. And for those of you who did not bring your meds, we're on stage again on Sunday, and I guarantee it'll be funnier. Oh yeah, it'll be the same show, but you'll appreciate it more.
We're not actually going to be here. We're just going to have a screen replaying what we're doing tonight, but in 3D.
Yes.
Swords are coming right at you.
Awesome.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but they laughed. I love it.
Michael, they're not listening to you. The audio button's turned off. They're just looking at you.
Hey, I'll take what I can
And see, the audience can tell at a glance that this one's actually female. Sorry.
That only happened once. In my defense, he was really good looking.
Wow.
That's a big one quiz and say.
Oh!
Move the collar so you can see the neck. I learned that.
There's other ways to check too, but it usually gets you kicked out of parties. Oh, come on. Did nobody? Crocodile Dundee? Anybody? I know none of you are old enough to have seen it when it came out like I did.
I could have seen it, I could have.
Look at it. She's like,
This is
no,
not
he's
quite,
so funny.
quite
No,
there.
seriously. I saw it in the theater when it came out.
You was still old?
Yeah, but I was in college. For like the 7th year in a row. I mean, oh, yeah.
It's a grand tradition.
That was, you know, every once in a while, I actually don't dispute your claim that we're related.
That's right. Documentation to prove it.
We were at the Harley shop earlier this week getting an oil change for my bike, and the nice lady at the counter did not believe that we were related, that was my son.
Which is the only time that's ever happened. We were very happy.
Both of us.
What is it about
Nose is straighter, and
You haven't had your nose broken because you're not married yet. I mean, hi, sweetheart. You have to remember, I teach martial arts for a living. I teach full contact kickboxing based on Muay Thai from Thailand. Knees and elbows are legal. So I've had my nose broken 3 times in my life. Once diving off a dresser onto a coffee table. Don't do that. And just so we're clear, the Superman cape I added did not slow me down at all. Stupid cartoon. The second time I broke my nose was actually catching an elbow in a Muay Thai match. Don't do that either. It works better to duck or block, I discovered. The third time, my wife broke my nose. And no, we weren't fighting. We weren't doing that either. Would have been a better story, though. All right, sweetheart, why don't you get their attention on the show and not on my son who's standing there twitching? No. Go ahead, dear. Introduce the musical portion of our program and let those few people outside know there's something going on in here and you either want to be far away or inside. We did that in Minnesota at a Ren Fair and all these moose came crashing. No, it's different in Kansas. All I can say about it is, man, can my wife really put...
Maybe you broke your nose as a pretense to what he just did.
And see, now people are leaving already. Don't leave! The jokes will get better. No, they won't. Because we're actually here to do a samurai martial arts show. The jokes are... Wow, that's what they all wanted to see. My 20-year-old son playing with his sword on stage.
Okay, half of you got, none of you know more than that. And I'm trying to debate whether the cheer got the joke in which... Yeah.
We're at an anime con, it doesn't matter.
Cheer for anything.
That's my favorite part about being an anime con. Seriously, we perform all over. We do demonstrations at martial arts tournaments, we do seminars, we do Ren Fairs, we do Summer of the Arts things. Anime cons are our favorite place to perform because everybody here is here for one reason, and that's to have fun.
And
There's no egos. You're here to have fun, so basically you laugh at anything, which I can prove it. Watch.
I know, I get up looking at her. You got to do.
All right, you didn't need to laugh so hard to last. Did you actually start this show?
Okay.
All right, good. We're we're here to do a presentation on samurai martial arts as they existed in the 16th century Japan. And even though my son is fond of pointing out that that was an era I lived through, if he says it one more time, this will be a show he won't. So, 16th century Japan. The way of the sword was of paramount importance to the Japanese nobility, known as samurai. They trained with a sword starting at, literally at age 3. You know, if you're a parent, if you have more than one kid, the last thing you do is let your 3-year-olds running around the house. You don't give them sticks, you know, handles and stuff. Say, here, go chase your brother. That's actually what they did in Japan. At age 3, they were given a wooden stick and said, here, go play with your brother and sister. And then at age 7, those of them that were still alive and functional got put into a special training program where they were taught how to use the sword for real. At age 15, they had a coming-of-age ceremony where all of their skills were put on display, or what passes for them. And if they lived through this, they were given a real sword known as shinken, or real sword, strangely enough. And they were considered to be an adult. Now, I know we're at an anime con where there's people who are 16 and 17 going, well, yeah, I'm an adult. Being an adult in 16th century Japan was different. If you're here, being treated like an adult means you whine at your mom that you're too old to take out the trash, you don't want to be told to clean your room, and you need the keys to go to the mall. In 16th century Japan, being a grown-up meant daddy goes to war, so do you. And you don't just carry this stuff, you have to fight with your own sword. And so it was actually life or death. So when samurai began training, all joking aside, they took the training part very seriously. Using a 3-pound sharpened wooden sword, steel sword, was difficult. Obviously speaking English is difficult for me. It's my 3rd language. I failed at the first 2. This is why I have to use him for this instead of you. Every time I ad-lib a joke that's not in our script, she loses her composure and just starts giggling. Has anybody seen our show before? Do you remember last year, at the end of our show, we did a double cut. My son and I, where I cut up through the target and he cut the piece in half. We'll do that probably tomorrow. But we were performing our last anime con, and I get really silly at anime cons because I love being at anime cons. Not only are you guys there to have fun, so are we. So we're up on stage, and I make a joke that's not part of our show. She loses her composure, starts giggling, and we have to wait, throws off our timing. I cut up, and she missed the map. And it fell, and I went, you missed! You can't, you're gonna stay here until you get it right. That's what's fun about dating a martial arts instructor. You mess it up, you have to keep practicing. Back to our show. Picked up the mat, and I set it on the piece, you know, on the base of the mat, and was trying to get it to balance there. And since I'm unbalanced to start with, I'm having a difficult time with this. Mat's tipping over, Mat's tipping over. And just about the time I get it to stay still, some guy from over there yells out, use duct tape! And I'd just taken my hands off, and so the mat was straight up and down, and I said, I don't need that much help keeping it up. And walked off, and everybody started laughing. I went, what did I, oh. And of course my wife goes, and lost her, completely lost her composure again. And then everybody was just waiting. It was like a race to see what would happen first. Her get her composure back or the mat to tip over. Who won anyway?
We killed the mat.
Yeah! Which is good, because if she would have missed again, I had an even worse joke. Back to our show. Samurai, training, skill, power, precision. Because swinging a 3-foot sharpened metal sword was difficult. It was also very dangerous. Because a sword does not respect its owner any more than it does anyone else. And if you're not using it correctly, you can cut yourself too. If you don't believe me, there's